Welcome to Living Simple and Well, the audio diary for the woman who's doing her best to live a meaningful life, one boundary, one deep breath, one messy day at a time. Hosted by a girl just getting by. This podcast is your safe space for raw conversations, real life lessons, and tiny shifts that make a big impact. From navigating complicated relationships and motherhood meltdowns to curating a soft, slow morning routine and showing up for your dreams. We're talking about it all, vulnerably, honestly, without the pressure to have it all figured out. Here, it's not about hustle culture or perfection. It's about coming home to yourself, simplifying the noise, and choosing to live well on your own terms. So pour your coffee, take a walk, or hide in your closet for some peace and quiet. You're safe here. Hey friends, welcome back to Living Simple and Well. Today we are talking about taking up space for ourselves without feeling guilty. Is this an easy concept to navigate? Absolutely not. But it's worth it. Why? Because when you establish your worth, you diminish the guilt. I have been batch recording some of these episodes due to travel upcoming and a little pivot in my professional life. I went back to my freelancing roots and aligned myself with a fabulous women-owned and women-operated business in the tech space, helping love on their prospects and incoming members. It has been life-giving to earn without the pressure to lead. If you're new here, I closed my online business management agency a few months ago. And honestly, they say hindsight is 20/20. And while it was a lot to navigate at the time, the feelings I have about it now are much more positive. I do genuinely feel more aligned with the way that I'm spending my days. This has filled my days alongside the usual parenting, homemaking, PTO duties. So it's led me here, being a prepared Patty with these episodes to ensure you get a weekly listen, friends. And honestly, this podcast has become such an amazing creative outlet for me. And it doesn't even feel like work to me, except for editing. That might be the first thing I outsource when I get to like Jenna Kutcher's level. Anyway, do you ever feel like every spare moment belongs to somebody else? Like your calendar is packed with other people's priorities. Your to-do list feels endless. And when you finally try to take even a small pause, guilt hits you like a ton of bricks. I know that feeling. I've been there and it's exhausting. We're going to talk about why reclaiming your time, energy, and emotional space often feels so guilt-inducing and how to start doing it anyway. Softly, intentionally, and without shame. I want to share some personal stories, some practical tips as always, and some reflection prompts along the way. So let's dive in. Okay, let me get really real with you. There was a season in my life where I felt guilty all of the time for taking space. I'd want to say no to something or even just take a few quiet moments for myself, and I'd immediately hear that little voice in my head, you're being selfish, you're letting people down. I remember this one Saturday, everyone else had plans, and I just wanted a morning to myself. A hot coffee maybe, a little journaling, maybe even a walk, and I felt awful, so guilty, like I wasn't doing enough for everyone else. But I went ahead and I took that time anyway, and you know what happened? I felt lighter. I felt calmer. And ironically, I was able to show up so much more fully for my family and friends after that. That was honestly a big turning point for me. I realized taking up space isn't selfish, it's necessary. And learning to do it without guilt, that's the real practice. So why does it feel so hard? Well, there's a few reasons here. First, cultural and societal pressures. We're told we should always be available, productive, caring, giving, you name it. And while these things are good things, when taken to an extreme, they create constant guilt around claiming any and all personal space. Then we have those internalized messages. Many of us might have grown up hearing things like, always put others first, or rest is lazy. These messages sneak in and make it feel wrong to prioritize yourself. We're navigating a generation that saw moms coming right from work to change from heels to sneakers and take us to the fields, only to have a 7 p.m. dinner before the quickest bath and bedtime routine known to man. And don't get me wrong, some of my days look exactly like that. But I've one, created an intentional life for myself to remove some of that overwhelm, and two, have honestly gotten really good at carving out time for myself when I know I'm going to need it. The last thing here is guilt itself can become a habit. We over apologize, over explain, and secretly resent the moments that we take for ourselves. But here's the secret. Guilt is usually a sign you're doing something right. You're protecting yourself in a world that's constantly asking you to give more than you have. Okay, let's get super practical here. How do you actually take space for yourself without the guilt spiral? So here's what actually works for me. I want you to look at your physical, emotional, and mental boundaries. Think about where you can intentionally build in pockets of time for you. I want you to start communicating your boundaries more clearly. Saying no doesn't require a long explanation or an apology. Try phrases like, I'm going to pass on that. Thank you for understanding. Or, I need this time for myself, but I so appreciate your support. Start normalizing self-care and personal time. Reframe it less like a luxury and more like an essential part of your life. Morning walks, quiet coffee, journaling, reading, naps. I used to think taking an everything shower was a luxury. Now I do it once or twice a week without any guilt because I built them into my week intentionally. I want you to start practicing gentle guilt release. Mindfulness, affirmations, reframing your thoughts. My space is healthy for me and for those I love. Notice that guilt often decreases over time as you practice claiming your space. This isn't going to happen overnight, friends. Make it habitual. Protect your space consistently. Recurring personal time blocks, tech-free periods, weekly no commitment windows. Small, consistent steps are easier to maintain than big, drastic changes. For example, my husband works every other weekend, and I am talking 12-hour shifts Friday through Sunday. So it's just my daughter and I. I call it my solo mom weekend. We have a few activities depending on the season, like soccer, gymnastics, or swim. And of course, we attend church, but I make it a point to ensure that one of those days is just us hanging at home in our cozies, even if it's just for half of the day or the evening. Spoiler alert, one of my weekly everything showers, it happens on that Friday when girlfriend is still in school and my husband is working. Making time for yourself doesn't have to be hard, it just has to be intentional. I want you to think about this. Where in your life do you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself? What's one small way you could carve out time or energy for yourself this week? How would it feel to give yourself permission to exist without constantly serving others? Journaling, speaking it out loud, or even just sitting quietly with these questions can really help cement the mindset shift. Remember, reclaiming your space is not selfish. It's foundational to showing up fully in all areas of your life. I want to give you some real life wins to help inspire you to make these shifts, to set these habits into motion. I started a simple morning routine, 20 minutes of journaling and tea before the day begins. At first, the guilt was strong. Some mornings when my husband was still home and I'd hear our daughter already up, I'd feel bad, but now it's non-negotiable. It makes me calmer, happier, and more present. Even my husband would notice that it set my tone for the day, which, let's face it, made everyone else happier too. You can't pour from an empty cup, friend. I also set a tech-free hour after dinner. Everyone's washing up, getting into cozies, and settling in. I'm now feeling refreshed. The family time is actually better because I'm more present. Even small acts like this make a ripple effect. Soft boundaries, intentional space, and self-care. These little steps add up and change the energy in your whole entire life. So friends, if you take one thing from today, let it be this. Your space matters. Your time matters. Your peace matters. Taking care of yourself is never something to feel guilty about. It's the foundation for showing up fully for yourself and for others. You will be a better mom, a better friend, a better daughter, a better employee when you put yourself first. And there's nothing selfish about that. This week, I want you to really try one intentional act of reclaiming your space, whether that's a morning ritual, a walk, or saying no to something super minor. Just notice how it feels. Notice a physical weight lifting off of you, a pressure that doesn't exist anymore. And if you want, share your wins with me on Instagram or send me a DM at Living Simple and Well. I love celebrating these small victories with you. When I ask for you to share, and you do each week, it is always just such a big connection piece and reason why I started this podcast. Next week, we're going to talk about a topic that has been pulling at me lately. It's something I've struggled with. And again, I promise to always come here as a work in progress and share both what's working and what I'm working on. And that's comparing yourself to those online and how the only person you truly should be competing against is you. Until then, friends, remember, giving yourself space isn't selfish, it's essential. You've got this. Bye for now. Welcome to Living Simple and Well, the audio diary for the woman who's doing her best to live a meaningful life, one boundary, one deep breath, one messy day at a time. Hosted by a girl just getting by. This podcast is your safe space for raw conversations, real life lessons, and tiny shifts that make a big impact. From navigating complicated relationships and motherhood meltdowns to curating a soft, slow morning routine and showing up for your dreams, we're talking about it all, vulnerably, honestly, without the pressure to have it all figured out. Here, it's not about hustle culture or perfection. It's about coming home to yourself, simplifying the noise, and choosing to live well on your own terms. So pour your coffee, take a walk, or hide in your closet for some peace and quiet. You're safe here.